An 18-year-old student, a student of Indiana University, was apparently targeted by a racist maniac and stabbed repeatedly while on a bus in Bloomington, specifically because that 18-year-old happened to be Asian. Student ended up with multiple stab wounds to her head, was transported to a hospital. And actually, why don't we bring up this tweet? You'll be able to see the 56-year-old white woman who attacked this student has been charged with attempted murder, aggravated battery, and battery by means of a deadly weapon. So some of you might be playing devil's advocate in your mind and wondering, what did that student do to cause this? And I want to be completely honest, based on everything that's available to us, literally nothing. I don't mean it not just anything direct, I mean nothing that can be interpreted as justifying any altercation whatsoever, let alone this attempted murder that we saw. She was apparently waiting for the doors of the bus to open, and the passenger began striking her in the head with a knife. Billie Davis is the 56-year-old, said specifically that she targeted the student for being Chinese, adding, quote, "It would be one less person to blow up our country." Apparently, there is video. There was no interaction between them before this attack. The beginning of their interaction was an attempted murder with a knife. And apparently the student was stabbed at least 7 times before she got off the bus and this ended. And so, look, racist attacks and hate crimes like this are obviously nothing new in America. Violence perpetrated against Asian Americans or people who they believe are Asian Americans is definitely not new. But we're also not going to pretend that it's not more common in the wake of the pandemic. And we're not going to pretend that some of the most influential and powerful people, especially on the right, both in politics and political commentary, haven't led to people like Billie Davis, this 56-year-old, believing that Chinese people are suspect, Chinese people are trying to destroy America, China is the ultimate world villain, and something needs to be done about it. And so when these sorts of things happen, as they've increasingly been happening, we're not going to pretend that it's just an isolated incident, because it very much isn't. Jared, what do you think?
Yeah, when you run out of bad guys and boogeymen, you keep expanding and expanding. So whenever the pandemic happened, and you have an opportunity to open up your hateful people to then become more loyal to you based off of that hate, you take it and you run. We saw Donald Trump do that, and it's not just him. It's all stuff that gets perpetuated. Do you think these pundits, do you think these politicians that are still in office are going to talk about these types of things? We did a story earlier on the watch list about Sheila Jackson Lee was proposing a bill that would point out the terrorist nature of white supremacy. And if you're associated with promoting it and then leading to someone attacking someone based off it, you're up on these charges associated with it. I think it does have some things to tighten up on it to make sure you get the right people. But this is something that has people so upset. Specifically, it was Tucker Carlson. So if you're mad about how people then have to look over their shoulder like this woman had to do before getting on the bus, a normal daily activity, that is terrorism. She's been, the attacker has been motivated by people who are looking for advancement within their careers, looking for more money, looking for more support, just lying about anything that they can to make sure they anger enough people that follow them and hang on every one of their words to then do things like this. And the result is someone just trying to get on the damn bus and get stabbed this many times. So if someone has to look over their shoulder just from doing normal daily activities, going to the grocery store, getting on the bus, driving down the street, going to school, going to work, all that stuff has to be monitored to make sure you don't get almost murdered. This is when leaders need to come forward and start talking about, listen, I had this to say, but I didn't mean that. They won't even say that because they don't want to lose that structure of regaining and exploiting more and more of their power. This is on full display, what people always talk about, how the evil of power and people's thirst for it just continues to grow. They just use foot soldiers like this to get there.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And look, there's a lot of responsible people who are going to recognize what's going on. But while we can point out these links, we also, we would be stupid to believe that they will acknowledge it, that they will apologize for it. I mean, the idea that they're going to apologize for demonizing China or Chinese people, they wouldn't apologize when the specific children's hospitals they were demonizing got bomb threats. Like, the link could not be clearer, and they still insisted that they had done nothing wrong.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.